Hello, welcome to my channel. Okay, today we're going to do a video on food, some different foods, because I feel like there's foods people have never heard of and never tried. And some of it's going to be Southern food, and I might mention some other ones that aren't Southern food. But some lady made a comment saying she was 62 years old and never heard of runny eggs on pancakes and waffles. I never had it. And I'm like, what? 62 years old and she's never had, you know, we get them. I like them with the white's done and the yellow's runny, and then you get them on your pancakes or your waffle with lots of butter and syrup. And when I was younger and I would go to restaurants, the waitresses will ask you, hey, do you want your eggs on your waffle? It was something the waitresses would ask us. Do you want the eggs on your pancakes? Or on the side, right? You go to Waffle House and you order a waffle, or Huddle House, and you put a lot of butter on your waffle, you throw your eggs on there, throw a little salt and pepper on your eggs, throw some more syrup on there. I put syrup under the eggs, syrup over the eggs, and then you eat your, otherwise it's just a waffle with syrup, and I don't get that, but I feel like you gotta have the eggs. What is the point, right? If I feel like it's a little bit disgusting to have it without the eggs, but that's just me. My daughter used to like them with strawberries and whipped cream and not syrup or eggs, just strawberries and whipped cream. And I thought, well, that seems kind of strange, but they served them that way. But I just don't even get how people could have that without it. And then I'm thinking, well, what if somebody's never had a sandwich with the lunch meat? Like a ham and mayonnaise and barbecue chips, or turkey and mayonnaise and sour cream and onion chips, or even ham and cheese and mayonnaise with barbecue or sour cream and onion chips, or fried bologna. Fried bologna, you don't even need the mayonnaise because you fry it in butter. You might put the bread in the pan in the butter and throw some chips on it. And I thought, well, there's things people probably never heard of. Potato cakes. One of my favorite things is taking leftover mashed potatoes and you make a little patty, dust it with a little flour, and you fry it in butter. Lawry's, it's got to have Lawry's on it, and then you fry it in butter till it gets nice and golden crispy on one side. You don't want to sit there and flip them, more than once because they'll fall apart. So you got to get it nice and golden crispy on one side, and then you flip it over and get it nice and golden crispy on the other side. You might need a lot of butter. I've done it before without even using flour, but some people will take and mix flour and eggs into it and then cook them that way. But I prefer them without it. And then patty melts. When I was younger and I would go get a patty melt, I was in this greasy dive in Marietta, Georgia, in the square near the courthouse. And it was so good. It was so good. But he put grilled onions and bacon on it. And when I was younger, whenever I go to get a patty melt, it automatically came with grilled onions and bacon. And as the years go by, all of a sudden they don't have bacon on your patty melts. And if you want bacon on your patty melts, you got to add a side of bacon or something, or order it extra. And I thought, well, that's strange, right? A Monte Cristo sandwich, which some people seem to think is like a French toast sandwich, but it's a deep fried sandwich. It's a deep fried sandwich. Like, oh, it's so good. And I think some people probably have never had a Monte Cristo sandwich. It's a deep fried sandwich, and then it's got powdered sugar dusted on it. Creamed potatoes. This is something that drives me crazy. I will see a buffet or a restaurant and they will list creamed potatoes as one of their foods. And then when I was younger, you go to a southern place and they'll have a list of like 15 vegetables, even though some of their vegetables are not vegetables, they're like mac and cheese, but it'll say 15 vegetables. And they'll have creamed potatoes. And the creamed potatoes is where you cut up potatoes and you boil them and you cook them, but they come out you drain them while they're still firm and not so soft that you can mash them, and then you mix in butter and like sour cream or heavy whipping cream or some kind of cream into them so that they're cream potatoes. And they're not mashed, they're still cut up the way you cut them, and they're so good. So I don't understand how people don't know what cream potatoes are. I wonder if there's people that haven't had a chicken salad sandwich that's made with grapes. I like lots of cut up grapes in my chicken salad and Duke's mayonnaise and maybe a little bit of slivered almonds or pecans or something, but I like a lot of grapes in there. And I feel like some people haven't ever had a chicken salad sandwich. And I also like it better on a croissant. Okay, tuna salad sandwich. Uh, Tuna salad, and you mix canned tuna with mayo and cut up boiled eggs. And some people like relish in it, and some people don't. Some people like cut up little onions in it, and some people don't. And then you put it on bread with a slice of cheese and you grill it, and that's called a tuna melt. And that's something I've had since forever. Since forever. Another thing we had was that Cool Whip salads. The Cool Whip salads with the jello and strawberries. And some people put a bunch of little mini marshmallows in it. You know, you make it different ways. There was the one with pistachio. There was the pistachio salad, but I don't think it actually had pistachios in it. But the strawberry one had strawberries, and it was so good. And we would leave the cottage cheese out of the recipe. Chicken and dumplings. You know, you can make it with Bisquick mix and do the drop dumplings. And you got to make extra dumplings because some of them will just evaporate into the soup and make it thicker. And you leave the lid off and you steam them for like, you boil them, not steam them, but it's like a simmer. It's like simmering. You've got chicken broth in there, and then you've got broken up pieces of chicken. You can make the dumplings, like I said, like out of Bisquick mix. And then you got to have a can of cream of chicken soup, because if it doesn't have a can of cream of chicken soup, it's not going to be near as good. And of course, a stick of butter. Okay. Have you ever had a grilled ham and cheese sandwich made in the oven with little pats of butter? Like you cut a little thing of butter, like a little slice of butter, and you cut that little butter into pats, like 3 or 4 little pats, and you drop it onto the ham and cheese. You put it in the broiler, which is really hot. It cooks it within a minute or two, or it just takes a couple minutes. You got to watch it so it doesn't burn. You take it out, you flip it over, you put some pats of butter on there, and you do it again, and that is the best grilled ham and cheese sandwich. And that's how we do toast. That's how we do grilled cheese. But we do our toast that way too because it's better toast. And if you're going to make toast for a lot of people, it's easier. And some people put mayonnaise on their grilled cheese when they put it in the oven. They might put a little bit of mayonnaise and a little sprinkle of pepper. Some people might sprinkle garlic powder on the outside of their grilled cheese when they go to make it in the oven. So I just feel like there's so many things that people might not have had. Hush puppies. Hush puppies in the South, they might offer you a basket of hush puppies and it comes with tartar sauce, because I see people on these videos trying hush puppies as a southern thing, but they don't have any tartar sauce. Do they not know that the hot hush puppies are supposed to be dipped in tartar sauce? How do you eat those without the tartar sauce? It's not the same. And you got to eat them fresh and hot or they're not very good. And they're not very good at some of the fast food restaurants either. So, and you know, you could feed them to your other half all day long, the hush puppies, and it's not going to make them hush. So, you know, they might say they don't actually work because nobody's going to hush when they eat them. Oh, they're so good sometimes. Sometimes I don't like them. It depends on who makes them. But yeah, they come by the basketfuls in like Alabama restaurants, and you got to have the tartar sauce with it. A fried bologna sandwich. I love fried bologna sandwiches. You fry it in butter, and you got to cut it because it'll bubble up if you don't cut it. Fried green tomatoes. There are people that have never had fried green tomatoes. Chocolate gravy on biscuits. And if you have chocolate gravy and it is not so sweet, it is unreal. They did not make it right. Chocolate gravy is supposed to be sweet. It tastes like a dessert. It is like if you're eating a chocolate lava cake and the lava's coming out. It's kind of like a mixture between a chocolate pudding flavor and a chocolate frosting. And it's so sweet, it's unreal. You put it on the biscuits, and it doesn't taste like gravy and biscuits. It tastes like a dessert. And yes, we will eat that for breakfast. Salmon patties. Have you ever had salmon patties? You use canned salmon. You mash it up. The bones are so soft that some people will take them out, but you can mash up the bones in the canned salmon unless they suddenly got hard. But you can feel them with your fingers to feel if they're safe when you go to mash them up. And you make salmon patties. My dad would take, he might take cornflakes or crackers or whatever he could find in the cabinet and just break it up with the salmon and some eggs and make it into patties. And then you just fry them in like a little bit of butter or something. And then you have salmon patties, and they are so good. Fried okra. When I was younger and we made fried okra, they had like farmers market, but they didn't call them the farmers markets then. And they would set up on the side of the road in different places, and you could pick out the okra, and you could get the little bitty tiny okras. And you didn't get the big ones because the big ones are okay for boiling, but they're not good for fried okra. And now these restaurants, they have these frozen okra and the fried okra, and they have big hard ones with the hard stringy pieces, and it's not as good. And then they've got breading all over them that's just sticking caked on there. But it's not the same because it's not the cornmeal batter. So you get the little okra that's nice and soft. And you cut it up and make sure it's, wet. You might want to soak it in a little bit of milk or something. And then you mix cornmeal and flour. And, and then you bread it. And then you fry it. Probably be better if you fried it in lard, right? You don't deep fry it, but you put enough grease in there, and it takes a while. It takes a while for it to get nice and done, and it doesn't like cook really fast like they do in these restaurants. But and then it's so good, right? And breaded fried yellow squash. I don't know if you've had that, but that's good if it's just cooked with just flour, but it's good. I love breaded fried yellow squash, and I don't like the ones in the restaurants with a thick, thick, thick batter. Cream corn fried nuggets. That's not something I've had since I was a child. That's something that I didn't have till like 10, 15 years ago, but they're good. Crawfish. If you've never had crawfish, oh, they are so good. It's so much work for just a few little bites, and then you put it in the butter, and you keep putting the little pieces of crawfish in the butter until you get enough for a couple of spoonfuls. But oh, it's so good. I love crawfish. Hamburger gravy on toast. Some people have had sausage gravy on biscuits, but some people have never had hamburger gravy. And hamburger grease, like bacon grease, you can save it. Put it in a cup, put it in the fridge, use it to season your greens and stuff with. But hamburger grease, if you're going to make hamburger gravy, you got to do it right then. You cannot save the hamburger grease because it is not good. So you're never supposed to do that. But hamburger gravy on toast is so good. And there may be there may be other foods that people have not had and I just didn't realize, and I feel like wow, what kind of foods are there that you may not have had, right? Hash brown casserole. They have that at Cracker Barrel. I don't know why I haven't, since I was a child, I've had problems saying Cracker Barrel. I don't know why. But there's something that some people have never had, hash brown casserole. and that's pretty good. Fried potatoes, where you cut them up in like circles, and then you fry them with onions, and you put in some ground beef, mix in with it, and you eat it with some ketchup, and that's really good. Potatoes cut up in little squares. I usually don't end up cutting them right. I cut them however I feel like cutting them, whichever is easiest for me. And then you fry them, but you cut up the potatoes similar to something like little squares, and you fry them in a little oil, and you sprinkle Lowry's on them, and then they get nice and golden, and then you flip them over, and you sprinkle some more Lowry's on it, and so I feel like maybe some people have never had that, and that's one of the best things. I love Lowry's. I feel like Lowry's just go on everything, right? So, okay, and oh, I don't even know. What if you've never had blackberry jam or orange marmalade? I mean, can you imagine if somebody's never had blackberry jam or orange marmalade on their toast and all they ever ate was grape jelly or strawberry jam or I don't know, 'cause seedless, I like seedless blackberry jam. It's so good. And orange marmalade, oh, it's one of my favorites. And I'm not crazy about apple butter, but and there's like chicken fried steak. What if you've never had chicken fried steak? Or you might want to call it cube steak, but what if you'd never had that? That would be interesting, right? With gravy. Cream corn. I saw a video where people had never had cream corn. And what if you didn't even know how to make cream corn? Like, I mean, you can get it out of a can, but you take a corn cob, right? And you cut the kernels off in half. You don't cut them off whole. You cut the kernels down and you cut them in half as you're cutting it down. And then you take the knife, the blade and the knife, and then you scrape the rest of it so that it comes out of the cob and the other half of the kernels come off. And there's little pieces that come out of the cob. And then you add butter and heavy whipping cream and that's cream corn, homemade cream corn, and it is so good, right? Oh, and grits. Some people have never had grits, and they say some people don't like sugar in their grits, and they eat it with salt or whatever. I, I, I am a. I will take. I will take a packet of sugar and mix it in my grits. I like lots of butter. I don't care if there's salt and pepper in it or not, but I like sugar in my grits. I am a sugar in your grits kind of girl. Yeah. And this one isn't a southern thing. This is something I had, far away. But you take sweet banana peppers. I guess you could use the hot banana peppers if you want to. And you cut them in half and then you coat them with a little oil or butter and you bake them in the oven till they get nice and soft. And then you sprinkle them with salt and you add cheese on top. You sprinkle cheese on top of them, and then you throw them back in the oven, and you melt the cheese. And you wouldn't think that something so simple would be so good, but oh, it is so good. And I feel like that might be something. Canopies or those little tiny cannolis, they're like cannolis, but they have the hard, crispy shell that's like a almond lace type cookie, and they fill them with ricotta cheese and chocolate chips. So it's like a cannoli, but it's got the hard shell. To me, that's like so much better. It's one of my favorite things. Banana pudding. I am not crazy about banana pudding, but I feel like everybody should have had banana pudding. Peach cobbler. If you're going to make peach cobbler, some people do it with cake mix. Some people do it with biscuits. I feel like it has to have cinnamon and brown sugar in it. If you're going to make peach cobbler and it doesn't have cinnamon or brown sugar, either one of those, I'm not eating it. It has to have both. That to me, without those cinnamon and brown sugar, It's just disgusting. And sweet potato casserole, I feel like it has to have brown sugar and cinnamon as well. I don't care if you put the marshmallows on top or if you're putting chopped pecans on top. Either way, it still has to have brown sugar and cinnamon, right? Because, ew. And, oh, some restaurants in Alabama, like, you go and order your meat and two sides. This is the thing about the South. You go to a restaurant, and they have all these restaurants where you can get a meat and two sides. And they might have different meats and different sides on different days, but it's a common thing. It's called a meat and two sides. Here, I'll put that in here. So it's a Southern thing, meat and two sides. I guess. I don't know if they have that in other cities, but you get a meat and two sides. Why did that show barbecue right away? Because it could be meatloaf. It could be chicken casserole. They call it chicken casserole, and it's just like chicken and maybe cream of chicken soup with Ritz crackers, and they bake it in the oven, and then they call it chicken casserole. I don't know why this showed barbecue. But yeah, they have those meat and two sides restaurants. And that's weird. Isn't even showing the meat and two sides. Maybe I should type the word Southern. Yeah, that looks more like it. Right? And yeah, macaroni and cheese is on there like a vegetable. Some of the restaurants with the meat and two sides, they'll give you a little tiny square of sheet cake with frosting after you get done eating. And it's part of your meal. It's included in their price. It comes with a little piece of sheet cake. And I feel like every restaurant should do that, right? Every single one of them. And then chocolate lava cake. Are there people that haven't had chocolate lava cake? Homemade donuts, you make them out of biscuits and you fry the canned biscuits. You can use canned biscuit mix and you fry them and then you take powdered sugar and you mix like just a dash of water or just a little tiny bit of milk in with the powdered sugar and you roll the homemade donuts out of the canned biscuits and you can cut the little um, donut holes out of it too if you want to, or you can shape them in different ways, but then you fry them and you coat them in the powdered sugar. And it's the best donuts. It's better than the grocery store donuts. It's cheaper and it's so easy to do. Oxtail, it's a soul food in a lot of places in the South and it's flavored. It's got like this gravy sauce on it. Oh, it's so good. Bread pudding. Bread pudding I first had in California. And then I remember I was running a hotel once and in the hotel, we always had, what do you call that? The cinnamon raisin bread for them to make toast with for breakfast. But then sometimes it would start to get old, and instead of throwing it away, I'm like, oh, I'm just going to use it to make bread pudding, right? And I had guests come in and they smelled it and they're like, oh, that smells so good. And I had looked up a couple recipes online and some of them call for too many eggs and some of them call for too few eggs. And I didn't want it dry and I didn't want it soggy. So I did like an in-between thing. So then they could smell it because it was bacon. So then I sent some to their room so that they could have bread pudding and you put vanilla ice cream over it while it's fresh and hot and it's so good. But I feel like maybe that's something some people have never had. Key lime pie. Oh, I love key lime pie. Chocolate mousse. I've gone to places and ordered chocolate mousse and they'll give you chocolate pudding. Even though they have chocolate mousse on the menu, it's not. And chocolate mousse is so good and I think maybe there's people that's never had that. And you can make this stuff yourself. You don't have to try to find it. Um, One restaurant had chocolate pudding with Cool Whip, and they had cut up brownies and dropped it in there, and it looked so pretty, and it was so good. The old KFC desserts with the graham crackers and the pudding and the Cool Whip and the bit of chocolate sprinkles, they haven't done that for years. So maybe there's people out there, that's an easy, cheap dessert that you can make for people, and it's so good, right? I feel like there's foods that people have never had, and I feel like I just wanted to do a video because I had no idea that there were all these foods that people had never had. But, who's ever heard of who's never had runny eggs on their waffles or their pancakes? But maybe there's more people that have never heard of it. Gyros. It's spelled like Gyros, and that's a thing that you get better in. I'm going to show you a picture of that. If you've never had gyros, they're really good if you're in Ohio or Pennsylvania or New York, maybe Washington, D.C. I don't know, but I know Ohio has, what is it called? Euro gyro. They spelled it. Is it Euro gyro? Oh, see how good that looks with all that meat? And the tzatziki sauce, which is made out of, it's got like cucumbers in it. Oh, they're so good. And I feel like there's people out there, what if you lived in New York or Pennsylvania or a place like that and you never had a gyro? And it's a Greek food. And it's usually ground lamb and ground beef cooked on a spindle. And they slice it off and they pile just stacks of the meat on there usually. I haven't eaten it for years, but I'm telling you, it is worth the drive to me to drive that far to get it. And it's all the way across the country from where I'm living now. But gyros are so good. I mean, it'd probably be cheaper. See? Some of them, if you get it somewhere else, sometimes they make it with a frozen meat, and it's not as good. But if you're in Ohio or Pennsylvania or New York, you go to visit a place like that and you don't get to try the gyros. Somebody told me they had really good gyros in Texas, and that because a little old lady told me that she worked in Texas when she was younger. I think at Neiman Marcus or somewhere like that, and they had gyros, and she would eat the gyros, and the gyros were really good. So I don't know, but I've had them in Ohio and Pennsylvania and places like that. And you can tell that's probably one of my favorite foods because I'm still talking about it and haven't gone to the next food. Another thing is Béarnaise sauce. I decided I wasn't going to mention Béarnaise sauce, but Béarnaise sauce is made like with butter and a lot of butter, egg yolks, the yellow of the egg, and tarragon and lemon juice. And it's really good. It's really good. You can add some cut up onions if you want to. It's good with steak. It's good with asparagus. Some people put vinegar in it. I don't like vinegar. Another thing is coquille. I don't remember how to spell it. Hold on. Coquille. There we go. And that is something you'd have to make yourself probably, depending on where you are at. And some of the recipes now have cheese in it. And it didn't have, I never made it with cheese when I was younger. I don't remember the recipe ever having cheese in it when I was younger. It was just, made with a sauce that had like heavy cream and maybe chicken broth or wine and things like that. And then a ring of mashed potatoes around it. And it's so good. And you make it with scallops and you can add shrimp or crab or lobster if you have it. I don't like frozen lobster. I only like the fresh cooked live lobster. So I don't really eat that because where I live it's not available. And I don't really have scallops anymore either, but sometimes I have crab. So I guess I could probably make it with crab. I don't know. But it's so good with the ring of mashed potatoes and the scallops and everything. Oh, it's so good. If you've never had that, smoked brisket. If you've never had smoked brisket, that is one of the best meats. Matzo ball soup, if you've never had that, that's really good. If you're making homemade bread, look for one that calls for a potato. Because, yeah, that's supposed to be one of the good ones. My grandma would go on and on about the homemade bread with a potato. And being I'm a southerner, we like to add a stick of butter to everything. You're making chicken and dumplings and it gets done, you drop in a stick of butter. You make spaghetti, yeah, you add a stick of butter. A pot of cream of potato soup, it needs a stick of butter. And Lowry's, I put Lowry's in everything. I don't care if it's fried chicken, fried pork chops, fried potatoes, fried eggs, steak cooked in butter, or even just French toast. I'm sprinkling Lowry's in it. If you're making refried beans, throw some bacon fat into it. Maybe even a few strips of cooked bacon crumbled up. Maybe you could take a little bit of it and put it with the bacon and put it in the blender and then add it with the rest of it mashed in. So, because the bacon is so good in refried beans. And we all know you got to have bacon and bacon fat in your green beans. Pinto beans with cornbread broken up into it was a thing that we had when we were younger. And to me, it's still so good. Cornbread and milk, I don't really like it, but it's something I had when I was a kid because the cornbread was hard, cooked in the, what are those skillets called? Well, I don't remember what those skillets are called. It's the pan. Why can't I remember what that pan is called? I don't know. It's this thick pan you cook in it, and suddenly I can't remember the name of it. And you take it and cook it in the oven, and wow, I don't know why I can't remember the name of that. Anyway, I'm not crazy about the cornbread and milk. When I was a kid, we would eat a big bowl of shrimp. No breading, it's cooked. I don't know how they cooked it. My grandma would give it to my dad. And it was a southern thing. We didn't have tartar sauce or anything with it, just a big bowl of cooked shrimp. And cast iron skillet, that's what that skillet's called, for the cornbread that you eat with the milk. And strawberry rhubarb pie. Have you ever had strawberry rhubarb pie? We used to eat that somewhere at a restaurant, and that was my daughter's favorite pie, was strawberry rhubarb pie. It's so good. And yeah, you got to have it fresh hot with ice cream on it. She would order the strawberry rhubarb pie, and I would get a piece of peach pie. And she never tried my peach pie. And then one day she took a bite, and I could eat it because I was taking it home with me because I was full. And she took a bite, and on the way home, she ate my peach pie while I was driving. I didn't mind, because, you have children. She's a teenager at the time, but, you love them, and you're like, okay, you're happy for them that they're trying it, and they like it, and they're eating it, right? But, yeah. Reese's cake. I don't know if you've ever had Reese's cake, but you take Reese's peanut butter cups, you put them in the freezer, you take them out, you cut them into fours, and you make a cake. Like if you're making a yellow cake mix from the box, you drop those cold frozen Reese's peanut butter cups in there right before you bake it. You can use the white chocolate Reese's peanut butter cups and put it in a chocolate cake, and the white chocolate and the chocolate together is so good. And then when you go to frost it, if the frosting, you know how you're supposed to wait for the cake to cool before you frost it? But if the cake's just a little bit warm and you put chocolate frosting on it, and it starts to melt, you can cut up Reese's peanut butter cups that are frozen into small pieces instead of the fours. You cut them into like eighths or something, and you just drop them all over the cake. and it'll start melting on the frosting. And then when it cools, it'll be like melted into the frosting a little bit, but when it's cold, it's not melted anymore, but it's still like coated into there from being melted in there. And another thing is the cherry cake. I don't know if you've ever made cherry cake, but if you can take a regular yellow cake mix, and you can get a jar of maraschino cherries, and you cut the maraschino cherries up, and then you take the cherry juice, and instead of the liquid that you're putting into the cake, or you can use some of the liquid that you're adding into the cake can be the cherry juice. And then you mix it into the cake mix, and you add the cherries, and you bake it. And then when you got the cream cheese frosting, you take a little bit of the maraschino cherry juice and some of the cut up cherries, and you mix it into the cream cheese frosting. Even if it's cream cheese frosting you get out of one of those little containers at the store, and then you put it on top. And if you want to make an orange cake, then you can use orange juice, but I would get the frozen concentrate orange juice where it's stronger, and let it thaw out, and use some of that. And then you can use some of that in your cream cheese frosting. So you can use different juices if you want to do like a lemon one, or whatever. You can replace the juice of your cake. You can do little cupcakes and try different ones so that you have different flavors. But cherry cake is so good to me, and the Reese's peanut butter cakes. Those are two of my favorite. My oldest son, he used to make the Reese's peanut butter cupcake. That was one of his favorites. So, yeah. So that's the food that I wanted to talk about, because, and I'm sure there's other foods that people haven't tried that I didn't even think about. And there's probably a lot of foods that I haven't tried that are coming into your mind that you would like to mention. And if there are, leave comments. And anyway, and let me know if you ever had pancakes or waffles where you had the runny eggs on the pancakes and on your waffles, because I thought that was a normal thing. But I thought eating hush puppies in tartar sauce was a normal thing, and then I realized that I never made that for my children. I thought about it when they were growing up, and I never made the hush puppies and served them hush puppies with tartar sauce. So when my son moved to Alabama and we went to a restaurant and he had a basket of hush puppies with tartar sauce, he was just eating those things silly because he thought they were so good and he'd never had them. And I felt kind of bad. Like, sometimes there are some things that I've had that I've never made for my children, even as adults. I've never made them that I've had that were really like a Monte Cristo sandwich. I've never made that for them. And I'm like, oh, how terrible of me that they've never tried these things, because I've never even stopped to make them for them. And I probably should have done that, but I haven't. And so if there's things that you've never heard of or never eaten, leave a comment and let me know. And I hope you enjoyed the video. And yeah, I probably went a little crazy. But, oh, and Black Forest cake. Have you ever had Black Forest cake? That's something else I've probably never made. Betty Crocker used to make them. They used to be in the freezer section. And it seems a little strange. And I'm not crazy about the flavor of the canned cherries. But, oh, such a good thing. Anyway, feel free to leave messages and have a blessed day. Bye-bye.